Well, hello everybody. This is Warren from the Rhapsody Piano Studio. I want to welcome you to today's live stream. We're going to be learning. So this is Love. I think it's from Cinderella, Walt Disney Cinderella. This is going to be for intermediate piano. And before we get started, give you a little bit more details about this. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed so far, and hit the notification bell to catch whenever I do go live. And also, sheet music is going to be available in the cards and the description after the live stream is over. You want to think of these lessons as step-by-step instructions, and click on over to the tutorial, which will also be in the cards as well. So these lessons are more like the instructions, kind of like the study guide, and you can think of the tutorials themselves as the actual test. You got to kind of do a little bit of both, okay? All right. Hey, what's going on, Chucky? Yes. We are keeping safe. I wish I could be as optimistic as you, but September, October, I don't know. Here in California, my goodness, we seem just so far away from where we should be at. But I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. You can't just be pessimistic, right? Try to hope for a good future. Okay, so I'm trying to make this straight here. Okay, so this is Love. This is a 3-page arrangement, and it's in G major. Okay, and like I said, it's intermediate piano. There's some tricky spots we will definitely go over, but I can't make this straight. There we go. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna show you how to practice this. So, you could technically do a longer section than I did here, but, people who are kind of practicing these steps for the first time, I think it's good to pick a smaller part, which is actually, sorry, I'm mumbling all my words here, but that's the first step of practicing. Pick the first smallest part that you can manage, okay? Gosh, no measure numbers for this one either. That is so annoying. No measure numbers here, so that was pretty much the last measure of the first row if you have the music after this, okay? Alright, so once you have that small section, then you just do hands separate practice. Hello Morgan, how are you doing? Galactica Doodles. I like the update on the name. Okay, so like I said, we're just gonna do hands separate now. Now the right hand. Now here we do have fermatas in the beginning, okay? You don't have to literally count them twice as long. I think it's more they want you to play it expressively, so you can kind of stretch out the tempo there. Rubato doesn't necessarily have to be twice as long for each note. It doesn't have to be mathematical, okay? You see, I'm kind of starting a little fast and slowing it down, or you can start slow and then go fast. Many different ways to do this, but of course in the beginning you want to practice with the metronome. But yeah, it's expressive. You can do it as many different ways as you want. Okay. Okay, and the other important thing is once you start on the first measure, after this espressivo, get right into tempo. So you want to make sure it's correct rhythm right from the get-go, okay? All right, let's try that together. Ready, go. Okay, then we're gonna move on to the left hand. Okay, and then it is a waltz, so you want to emphasize the first beat and try to make these a little softer. And I'm using a 1-2 here because I can reach it, but always adjust for whatever size your hand is. So if you have a smaller hand, you might go 5-4 or even 5-5. Okay, it just really depends. I don't really think about this, to be honest. Sometimes I use a 2, sometimes I use a 3. Okay, I'll show you again, and then here, remember, a little lighter on the second beat and third. Okay, that's how you get the waltz flavor, if you will. Okay, left hand together. Ready, set, go. Okay, forgot to mention, make sure you get a good triplet rhythm right there. Okay, all right. now we go back to both hands. Okay, I should slow this down for you guys. Let's try it together. Ready, go. Okay, so once you add that first part, we did hands separate, then hands together. You just simply repeat this for the rest of the piece, okay? So next part. Okay, and you notice I don't stop it where that section ends. You want to connect it at least one beat into the next part, so it just kind of automatically connects it and you don't have to waste time practicing that, okay? All right, so the right hand. Ready, set, go. Okay, now to the left hand, same thing. Okay, that measure before here, be a little tricky because 5, 2, 1, 2, 1. So we're using 2, 1, 2, 1 in succession here, so it could be a bit challenging. And then I do a 5, 3 here. But you know, different options. You can do 5, 2, maybe 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Okay, so a lot of different choices you could try out, but I just do it the way it's written. 5, 2, 1, 2, and then cross under. Okay, so the tricky thing, if you do it without pedal, if you can reach this far, by the way, maybe 5, 3, 1 for smaller hands, 5, 2. I use no pedal here, just to show you guys, whenever possible, I mean, they have a slur marking over it, so you want to make sure you have a nice legato at all times when they indicate that, okay? All right, so let me do left hand for you one more time. Not only here, but then you have to quickly jump from here, octave lower to, is that on camera? Okay, good, yeah. And then up, another jump, okay? All right, so practicing jumps, another thing too. I would just kind of do this. You're basically practicing the skeleton, the blueprint, right? So just here, move fast here, okay? Get your finger ready on the note, play that. As soon as you're done with this, move up here, okay? So it's kind of, you play slow and you move fast in between. That's how to practice these little jumps. And you do it so many times where you don't have to think about it anymore. And it's kind of like the muscle memory takes over, okay? All right, let's try it together. Left hand, ready, go. Okay, then back to both hands. Ready, go. Okay, so we had one part, we had another part. Pretty much the last step you have to learn for at least just this rudimentary kind of basic way of practicing. You just put it together, okay? And then you just continue putting it together until you have a longer sections, like maybe like the first third of the piece or song, then you know half of it or whatever, and then you eventually have the whole entire thing, okay? So we're gonna go back to the beginning. Okay, and same thing, hands separate. Okay, I really don't know what that rattling sound is. Sometimes it just catches the strings vibrations, right? Right hand, ready, go. And then one thing you'll notice when you do hand separate as well, there is a bit of difficulty in keeping the correct beat and counting the rhythm correctly, okay? definitely want to be practicing with a metronome. Okay, here's the left hand. Okay, ready, set, go. A little slower. Okay, and back to both hands. Okay, man, I don't know. Where is that rattling coming from? Sometimes things fall on the piano, but yeah, whatever. Could be the weather as well. All right, do that together. Ready, go. Okay, now let's see what we have going on with the next section. Do you hear that theme come back from the beginning? Okay, so and then here I purposely picked a longer section now. Okay, so we did like the very basic, sections in the beginning, and now I'm doing longer sections. And then as we go on with this lesson, I will pick longer and longer sections. So also give you a goal to, what you should be aiming for. Okay, because when you're able to do longer sections at whatever level you're at, like let's say you did, at first you could barely do half a page, and then you do more, music at this level, and you're able to do an entire page and then 2 pages or whatever arrangement you are, then that's a good sign. You're improving, your focus is getting better, your concentration and all that, and you can also think about challenging yourself with more difficult music. Okay, so just because you're not able to do it here in this lesson, I'm gonna pick longer and longer sections, maybe you're not able to do it, just don't fret, don't get worried about that. I'm trying to provide you also a goal to aim for. Okay, all right, now here's just the right hand. Okay, this part is potentially tricky. I'm sorry I can't give you measure numbers, because no measure numbers. All right, this is a third row, 1, 2, 3, fourth measure. Okay, here they want you to flip on over to a 3 really quickly to hold that. Okay, and then we have, these are triplets. While you hold this, if you can. Okay, see I'm holding it at the same time. So you kind of have to move fairly quickly between all that. Could be kind of complicated, so make sure you practice this part very slowly, okay? In fact, we will do it together very slowly right now. Same place. Third measure of the second row. Ready, set, go. So kind of a lot going on there. All right, here's the left hand. Okay, so same thing with the triplets here. Okay, all right. Ready, set, go. So I want to mention here, 5, 2, or 1, 2, 5, or 1, 2, 4, whatever finger here. I am, it's very subtle, but I'm creating a legato here. Kind of tricky to do, okay? 5 and a 1. So make sure you're closing your hands in to achieve that, okay? All right, ready, set, go. I am also trying to show you here, not using a lot of pedal, okay? Because two reasons: older piano, you can't get away with a lot of pedal. Usually on older instruments, it just sounds too cloudy. And then you also don't want to be over pedaling to compensate for not being able to do a legato. Okay. All right. Back to both hands. Okay. We'll take that a lot slower. Ready, set, go. I hope that's slow enough for you guys. Now, we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning. So we're kind of building on these sections until you have an entire section, right? So now from the beginning all the way to where we stop. So you see, when you're practicing this way, it's also pretty time consuming. So if you think of this, when you're practicing, the whole song is not effective because you're kind of touching here and there. So here you will get less of the piece or song done, but you get it done on a deeper level. And that's kind of the problem with a lot of people's practicing. They practice very superficially. It's very shallow. So when you do smaller sections like this, you go very deep and you learn it a lot more deeply, I guess, okay? And this is also gonna, keep in mind that you're not gonna be able to do the entire thing in one day, unless you have like 6 hours to practice. Not that you're gonna practice 6 hours, unless you have like an hour, okay? But then this is only one piece, depending on your level. So you kind of have to pick and choose your battles, pick and choose the sections you're gonna practice. All right, here's just the right hand. Right, ready, set, go. Okay, left hand. Okay, try it together. Ready, set, go. And back to both hands. By the way, we haven't even got to things like dynamics. I try to do as much dynamics as possible in the lessons, but also keep in mind it's an older piano, so it's really hard to get a lot of range across, especially the softer notes. See that? On a good piano, this note should come out, okay? But you see how softly I'm pressing it, there's nothing. So I I don't really have much to say on dynamics. Just try to do them if you can. All right. Okay. Back to the beginning. Both hands. Ready, set, go. Okay. So I'm just gonna give you longer and longer sections because the way it's going, if I really go detailed, I could literally do this lesson probably before 2 hours. Okay, I don't think you want to watch a 2-hour lesson. Other thing to keep in mind too, I just realized, just had this thought that some beginning students I have had a really hard time transitioning with this whole online lesson thing. The more advanced students, intermediate, not so much. So I even went so far to create audio recordings for them, like hands separate, hands together, next section, same thing, put it together, longer sections. So like this is just the way I teach as well, and it works. So just hopefully you guys don't really have any misconceptions about trying this out. Okay, all right, we're gonna keep going. Okay, so you see that's a longer section we practiced right there. So let me see, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, roughly 17 measures, okay? Again, if you can't handle this, that's fine, but I'm trying to save time in this lesson as well and give you a goal to shoot for. So what's going on in this section? Just want to do a little bit of analysis. I don't do too much of this, but I think you might appreciate it at this level. Now the right hand, more notes here, so it's more harmony. It doesn't sound as naked. See, I'm kind of adding more notes. Very nice, okay? Here, a little tricky. Same thing, so we have the 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we have a E sharp on the bottom, okay? So be careful with that, and then double, kind of a, not doubling, but adding more notes on the top as well. See that? And then this part's fine. Now on the second page here, first notes we have, so a few different rhythms going on here, interesting. So we have triplet in 8th notes, then we have 16th notes, and then here we have sextuplets, yeah, sextuplets. Six 16th notes here. Okay, so we have triplet on 8th, and then we have 16th notes, then sextuplets in 16th notes. Okay, so I'm going to play it quickly for you, or a little slower without the explanation to see if you can really hear the different rhythms. Okay, so at first when you practice, this is what I recommend, just going one beat at a time. Just doing that, really? Yeah, just that. Then the next part. Until you have that, okay? So yeah, if we're taking the whole chunking thing to an insanely detailed level, you can even go one beat at a time. And in fact, I've done this with students where just only practice one beat at a time. We get through maybe like half of a measure or something like that, okay? This is how effective this way of practicing is, okay? All right, next part. If you look at the last measure of the first row of page 2, that's a mouthful. Hope you guys got that. So if you hear it's very holy cow. Okay, sorry about that. This never happened to me before. My phone overheated. Okay, we're back. I'm sorry. I don't know where we stopped at. So I'm just going to assume we were on the second page. So roughly, I don't know if we were practicing that. I'll go over it again. Okay. Sorry, but it never happened to me. My phone overheated. Crazy. I didn't know iPhones could do that. just the man, I guess technology these days. All right, so we have three different rhythms here: triplets and eighths, then with sixteenths, then sextuplets, which is 6/16 here. Okay, and again, I don't know where I left off, so I would practice one beat at a time here. Then the next beat, then the 6/16 notes, then eventually the whole measure. And you want that to be as smooth as possible. That's why you're practicing it that way, okay? Kind of difficult, but that's the way to do it. All right. Whoa, that really threw me off. Weird. Okay, where's another part? I think here, in the right hand. Sorry, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts again. So these two notes coming in here. You hear that? The E sharp is resolving to the F sharp. And then here we have, we have octaves. I like to use a 4 here, okay? But really, some people might prefer 3, okay? So I use a 4. I wouldn't recommend it for you because it's kind of difficult, okay? And then here, 4, 5. I use 4, 5, 4. You could do 3, 5, okay? And then here you got it. That jump is kind of tricky. So I would just take the last note, the B, or maybe even doing this. Doing this a whole bunch of times until that's pretty simple, okay? So that's what's going on with this section here. A lot more challenging, don't you think? Okay, let's do right hand. Where did we leave off? Okay, so going back to the first page. Retardando here before we go to the next part. Okay, so it's getting trickier. Here's the right hand. Let's try it together. We'll go a lot slower. Ready, go. Yeah, I love how the voices interact here. This, you hear that line on the bottom. Beautiful when that happens. Okay, here's the left hand. It says to do dotted half notes, but I think it's just more of a concept thing. You can't. It's kind of hard to hold that. See that? I can hold it actually. I don't even try. So very kind of straightforward there. Let's do left hand together. Ready, set, go. And back to both hands. One super typical thing I want to talk about before we go back and do the hands together. If you look at this section, there's a crescendo there. So anytime we have a pattern like this, it's kind of speedy. I don't know why I'm calling that speedy. Better than speed. Oh, I guess speedy. All right, so it's getting kind of fast right there. Rapid speed. It's going into forte. Usually when we have a crescendo, a problem I see a lot, it's super typical, is students will rush. When it's getting faster, like not in the rhythm, but maybe there's more notes, right? More notes. That's typically what we're doing. We're just adding more notes. And then on top of that, crescendoing into a forte, you have a tendency to speed it up and rush. Do not rush. Practice with a metronome, okay? All right, back to both hands. Ready, go. Okay, moving on to the next section. We still have a lot more to go, but I want to ask you guys, if you've enjoyed this lesson so far, if you feel like you're getting some valuable experience out of this, please hit that like button. It really does help me out a lot. You think it doesn't help? It's a like, yeah, you know, it's just a thumbs up. Helps me out a lot, like to get this video out there. And after the lesson is over, if you know anyone who would love to play this on piano at intermediate, this is a really nice arrangement, I have to say. Go ahead and share this video with them as well. Okay, continue on the next section from the odd tempo. If you look at this part, you're gonna see a theme here, and the theme is there's a ton of triplets everywhere, triplet rhythms. Okay. See if I want to keep going. Okay, so I like that spot better. I was thinking about stopping, but I went all the way to the third page. Okay, so you see tons of triplets everywhere. That is a challenge with this section here, okay? So we just take, especially the lot in the right hand, and it kind of alternates to the left hand as well. Kind of cool stuff going on, okay? Let me try to shrink this so I can see farther. Okay, here's just the right hand. We have a rest on the first beat. So either you use a metronome, or if you're practicing without a metronome, I don't recommend that, but if you do, I would just play that first beat with the left hand. See that? Okay. Okay, so it's tricky. So let's do it together. I'll go a lot slower, right? Ready, set, go. It's like probably one of my favorite sections in this whole song. It's pretty cool. Here's left hand. Let me count it better there. It'll make more sense when we go back to both hands, alright? Oh, sorry, I had a cursor in front of that. I was reading that wrong. Did you hear that? Now it's transferring the melody over to the left hand. Yeah, so quite sophisticated arrangement. It's a very good arrangement. Yeah, I love it. Okay, left hand together, a lot slower. Ready, set, go. Okay, so you really hear, apart from each other, it might not make sense. You have a sense of like how they kind of interact with each other. Like the right hand's doing triplet, then it takes over in the left hand, then the left hand answers with the triplet on its own, back to the triplet in the right hand. So this is why you frequently hear a lot of maybe classical musicians and jazz musicians talk about playing piano or any instrument for that matter. The music going on in composition, it's like a conversation. Okay, it's a good way to think about it. Back to both hands. To that again. Okay, not the best run through, but when you're so I hope you get a sense of this is also why you do hand separate practice, because it's almost like you hear one side of the conversation, then the other side, then you hear what happens when they're talking to each other. It's like, oh, that makes sense now, okay? Because it sounds really weird, right? Just doing hand separate, but also gives you again more of an understanding of how the conversation is happening in certain sections, okay? All right, both hands. We'll go a lot slower. Ready, set, go. You flubbed that too. Okay, anyway. So, last section here, we're just going to go from here all the way to the end. Remember to stick around really quick. I'll give you a fast, hopefully fast recap at the end after this section is over. So stick around for that. Okay, next part. I love that. It is coming back again. This is what happened on the second page. Then these triplets are coming back. So the last part, kind of like the beginning where you hold this and have these triplet notes on the bottom. You can't reach that. Same thing here. Yeah, so this is a really amazing arrangement. Really amazing piece. They don't make music like this as much anymore. So it's just, man, so sophisticated. I love it. All right, here's just the right hand. So you see the accompaniment pattern is switched. So kind of cool. Okay, right hand. So here, 1-5, kind of tricky to do. Kind of like in the beginning. And then here, practice those jumps again. It's pretty much the same note by note almost. And then you want to kind of linger on the last note. And then right in tempo. Okay, so we'll try that together, but honestly, it's like I don't want to force you to take my rubato. So when you're practicing, just really do it on your own, again with the metronome. Okay. All right. Here's the right hand, and then we're gonna count that rest. So we're gonna go ready, go, rest. Okay. Ready, go, rest. left hand. Okay, ready, set, go. Okay, then back to hands together, and after this, remember, we are going to, I'll give you a quick recap and also kind of the main difficulties, challenges we went through with this piece, okay? Let's just try it together. Ready, set, go. Okay, so quick recap here. This was a 3-page arrangement. This is Love from Cinderella. Okay, it's in G major. This is for intermediate piano. Okay, so how to practice. So the steps on the process of practicing is you pick a small part, you do hands separate, then you do hands together, then you pick another part, hands separate, hands together. Then when you can, you just build them up into bigger sections. Okay. Yeah, I don't really, I just have to analyze this and give you what the main sections are, but I'd say roughly off the top of my head, I think there's like 3 big parts, so you want to kind of build up to there. I could be wrong about that, but just, yeah. There's no measure numbers here, which is why it's frustrating. So about 3 major parts, you have to build up into that, and then those 3 major sections into the whole entire piece, that's going to take some time. So you have to build it up this way, okay? So that's just the basic way of practicing. Now, some difficulties with this. I'll say the main ones are getting those triplet rhythms, okay, and some parts where you have a held note, and then you have to rapidly switch fingers, okay, like that, 3 to 5, and then holding at the same time, triplets, okay. What else? We also have, right, one of the hardest parts I think is just this one measure on page 2. So we have 3 different rhythms going there. We have triplet, then 16th notes, then 16th notes in sextuplets, okay? Don't get your mind out together. That's really a word, okay? So 6 16th notes now. That's really a difficult part. It's gonna take a lot of time to practice, okay? And then the other thing here is when we have, it's kind of like jumping from octave to octave. Single notes to octave. It's really hard because you gotta use pedal to create a good legato as well. And then the main middle section we have a lot of triplets going on. Same thing with the left hand. So those are the main difficulties. If you get across that, then you pretty much can play the whole entire piece. Okay. Then last thing, remember that this video is this lesson here is step-by-step instructions. You need to test out your knowledge to see if you're doing it correctly by clicking on over to the tutorial. So test yourself out by using the tutorial. And remember, last thing, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit that like button, share this video, and also sheet music tutorial in links in the cards as well as the description below. Okay, this was a really good one. This is a pretty challenging arrangement. It's so nice on a lot of levels. I really liked doing this one for you guys today. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you next time. Happy practicing.